If I have the shoes, I'm just going to take this out. Yeah. Do the host thing. Perfect. Yeah. I'm really happy to be here. This is kind of a big deal for me. I think it's always funny when people ask me to read, which hasn't happened a lot in the past months or my entire life. Like, do you have time? I'm like, oh, I gotta check my schedule. Yes, I have time. And I want to be here. So, Lisa, thank you. I don't think you understand how important this is to me. And Kristen also, who has helped me out a lot, even before I left for Portland, and is a really big part of me pretending to be a writer. So I am a writer. Anyway, so this word came about, and I took the opportunity to look at all the different parts of the definition and waited for something to jump out to me. And in particular, 13 and 17. So something being non-superficial and something being profound. And I think that's something I ask myself a lot, being someone who hasn't had a lot of tragic events in their life. Sometimes I feel that when bad things happen or things I perceive to be bad, I don't know if they're meaningful enough for me to be upset about them because of how much things happen to other people. There's certain things I haven't experienced a lot of, and sometimes it's hard for me to give myself permission to be where I'm at. So the big question that came up for me is, what is meaningful? And that was the first thing that popped into my head. And I was like, oh, I got it. And then I didn't have anything for a while, so I did what I do as a classically trained journalist, and I interviewed people. So if I talked to you last week, I got info from you. So I came up with this little micro essay. Normally I would do some type of poem thing or prose, but I decided to go entirely nonfiction and challenge myself a bit. So I hope you enjoy it. Around this time last year, I started to read books about grief. I like to think I did this because I wanted to be prepared for death, but really it was an accident. I was in Powell's books a month before I left Portland, and I happened to see Joan Didion's name on the shelves that flanked the doorway to the Blue Room or the literature section. In a place like Powell's that takes up an entire block in downtown Portland and with the capacity to be overwhelmed, one would do well to search the tall shelves for familiar names. Otherwise, it's just all too much. I didn't have much of a capacity for new or a lot in that moment, so I reached for the book and stacked it on top of other names that I knew. The book was A Year of Magical Thinking, and Didion repeats the beginning lines in fragments throughout the book. Life changed fast. Life changes in an instant. You sit down to dinner and life as you know it ends. The question of self-pity. I didn't read the book until I arrived on the bare floor of the empty Tucson studio that I spent my last money on. Since I was still unemployed, I made sure to use my excess of time to pen mark and heart feel all the lines that spoke to me, but the fact of the matter was, while I could understand the relationship and appreciate the beautiful partnership she sustained for most of her adult life, I could not understand the death that ended it. I do not know death. And though my mother lost her father in a plane accident when she was 2, and her sister to suicide in her early 20s, I do not know death. And my childhood neighbor, a young mother who let me climb the big tree in her front yard, died of cancer, her body bloated by the steroids meant to subdue her pain the last time I saw her. Yet I do not know death. It happens all around me, and to other people I know, but I do not know death. I have lost, but not the kind of losing that creates the vacuum of want, the pit of absence that is bottomless and seemingly irreparable. Because of this, I fear feeling. I often don't know if that which weighs me down or lifts me up is enough. I don't know what is meaningful. What is enough? How much do we have to hurt or rejoice for it to mean something? Rather, does meaning run along an ever-changing continuum, or are we all arrested to a simple formula that determines whether we can rightfully feel what is present in our infallible hearts? Do all the elements add up to make that pink sunset, early death, or newborn baby meaningful? I ask myself these questions on days that my body is covered in static and I am invisible. God only gives you what you can handle. That's what I tell myself when I wonder why I'm here and not there. Side note, if the word God makes you uncomfortable, insert science with a capital S. I think my mom first said it to me, or maybe she was the one who said things change. Both phrases, so freeing yet so damning, telling me things would get better and that what was, simply put. Keep going. You can do this, said the overtones, but sometimes all I can hear is you haven't earned all that crying and rolling on the floor, and obviously you can't handle much. When my now and once again significant other left me for a very pregnant woman, 2 roads of insecurity intersected and brought me to my knees for the next 2 years. 1, I would never be like that other girl. I would never be all girl because I am part boy. And 2, I had acknowledged out loud and in writing that I wanted to grow old with this significant person. The profound nature of this heartbreak came from the expectations I allowed to form and the actual reality that took place. I knew that no one had died, no one even came close. But my chest hurt for 9 months straight and I couldn't eat. I remember stepping out into fresh snow a month later only to run through the freezing air for an hour just for 10 minutes of relief. I remember the leaving. There were boxes and big trash bags packed with clothes. We made small pumpkin pies together that night, but discovered that we had forgotten to add sugar. It was an ironic twist to the end of us at that time. All that work, all that sharing of space, all that living together, and something crucial was missing. She said she was moving, but I knew we were ending. The truth, it's hard to determine. It always is. But I believe that I broke my own heart by fault of my own expectation. It could have all been worse, but its authenticity was undeniable. The grief I felt, the purgatory between forever goodbye and just plain leaving, was real. Grief exists in all our tiniest trespasses. Sometimes I don't think I deserve to feel the way that I do, that it wasn't enough. But maybe we weld ourselves shut when we talk ourselves out of our small losses and miniature victories. When we disregard the first hurdles we meet and inch our way around them, we can't possibly be strong enough to run up the mountains to come. When future paths are flanked with deep pits and barbed wire, and the only direct direction we can go is forward. I've been asking people about meaning lately. Some say there is no such thing, that everything is meaningless. Others say that meaning can be found in tiny acts of courage, quiet steps towards something better. A week ago, I could have talked myself out of every big emotion because I couldn't find the meaning in the tiny catalysts. During the All Souls procession, I felt like a fucking tourist. As I change-stepped under signs and mementos, my friend Jeremy said to me, "All these people here, they can't see us. We're invisible." He was referring to the face paint. "We were ghosts," he said. I knew he was right. About me, at least. I was transparent, a body not missing another close body forever. What do you do when the flame between you and the one you love burns down to a warm glow? When they only want you for soft, quiet moments and the domestic familiarity of sharing a home together? What do you do when something as simple and as common as a missing pet happens? A tiny soul that slept in your neck at night, accompanying you early mornings when your eyes were plagued with sleep and heart heavy with doubt. You keep moving forward, even when your feet are firmly planted. Just fall forward. The moment you stop, you lose your spot in the middle of it all. You forfeit the small place in history where you become who and what you were supposed to be. Thank you.